Okay, get this. A tiny village up in the Adirondacks, with a population of just over 2,000 people, wants to host the biggest winter sporting event on the entire planet. Again. Lake Placid has this epic Olympic legacy, but is its dream of a third Winter Games an inspiring vision, or is it just a wildly expensive fantasy? Let's break it down.
You know, this isn't just some pipe dream anymore. After the state poured in hundreds of millions of dollars for upgrades and a really successful international test run, the talk around Lake Placid is getting serious. The whole conversation is shifted. It's not about if they could pull it off. Now it's about a much tougher question. Should they even try?
I mean, Lake Placid's entire identity is forged in the Olympic fire. They hosted the Games way back in 1932 and then again in 1980, yep, the year of the legendary Miracle on Ice. That history is a really powerful motivator for sure. But here's the thing, the world is a very different place now, and the price tag for an Olympic Games, whoa, it has absolutely exploded.
All right, so an Olympic dream reborn. Why now? What exactly put a third Olympics back on the table all of a sudden? Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was more like a perfect storm of brand new infrastructure and a very, very successful test run.
The big spark was definitely the 2023 World University Games. You can think of it like a full-scale dress rehearsal for the main event. Lake Placid pulled it off, successfully hosting thousands of athletes and proving that its newly upgraded, state-funded venues could actually handle the pressure of a massive global event. It really opened a lot of eyes to what was possible.
And you can just feel that newfound confidence in this comment from Ashley Walden, the CEO of Orta, the group that runs the venues. The success of those games wasn't just some local win. It was like a light bulb moment for state officials and organizers, making them think, hey, maybe a third Olympics isn't such a long shot after all.
But hold on, how could a tiny village possibly host a modern Olympics? The answer is simple, it wouldn't. Not by itself. The proposal that's actually on the table is a joint bid, which is this fascinating partnership between the mountains of Lake Placid and the giant metropolis of New York City.
So here's the game plan. You'd have Lake Placid handling what it does best, all the mountain sports like skiing, bobsled, you name it. And then, about 200 miles south, New York City would host all the massive arena events. We're talking figure skating, hockey at Madison Square Garden, and, of course, the huge spectacle of the opening and closing ceremony.
Now, this whole split city idea isn't something they just pulled out of thin air. It's directly inspired by the model for the upcoming 2026 Games in Italy. The Milan Cortina model pairs a major city with a classic alpine village. And let's be real, this is pretty much the only way a bid from a place as small as Lake Placid is even remotely feasible in the 21st century.
Okay, so let's dive into the dream, the case for doing this. Why chase such a massive, multi-billion-dollar endeavor? Well, for supporters, the arguments go way beyond just a 2-week sporting event. It's really about inspiration, economics, and even uniting the state.
First and foremost, proponents always talk about this Olympic aura. It's the idea that when the world's absolute best athletes are competing right in your backyard, it shows local kids that greatness isn't some far-off fantasy. It's actually within their reach. It creates a whole culture of possibility.
And this quote from Tim Burke, a 4-time Olympian who grew up right there, just hits the nail on the head. He remembers being a kid and being inspired by watching World Cup events. I mean, when your neighbor is a former Olympian, the dream just feels so much more real.
Then there's the money side. Proponents argue for this powerful economic afterglow. The thinking is that the investment doesn't just pay off during the games themselves. When people from all over the world come and have an incredible experience, they come back. For years, even decades, creating a really powerful long-term tourism boom.
And there's an even bigger, more ambitious civic vision here too. As Brooklyn Assemblyman Robert Carroll puts it, a joint bid could be a massive project to finally bridge that historic divide between downstate and upstate New York, uniting the entire state behind one shared goal.
But every dream has a price, and this is where the critics are raising some serious red flags. They're pointing to the staggering financial and logistical costs of hosting a modern Olympics, and they're warning that all that glory could come at way too high a price for taxpayers.
Yeah, it really all starts with the money. Forget the budgets from 1980. The scale of investment you need today has completely, totally exploded. And New York State is already pouring hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into just maintaining the Olympic venues they already have.
Just to put that into perspective, look at this number. Orta, the agency that manages the venues, is already spending between $800 million and $1 billion every single decade. That's the baseline cost, before you even submit a bid.
An actual Olympics would send that number into the stratosphere.
And that really gets to the heart of the warning from veteran NPR reporter Brian Mann. He basically argues that it's super easy to get swept up in all the fun and excitement, but those tough financial questions about return on investment and the burden on taxpayers, they need to be asked and answered first.
And the money is just the start of it. Critics point to these huge logistical hurdles. Orta already struggles to find enough staff to run the venues now. The roads and transportation routes into the mountains haven't really changed since 1980. And then there's the big one, opportunity cost. Is this the best use of state funds when communities need money for schools, housing, and healthcare?
You know, it's also a powerful reminder that Olympic legacies can be complicated. They're a bit of a double-edged sword. After the 1932 Games, the bobsled run became this beloved local icon. That's the good. But after 1980, the Olympic Village was converted into a federal prison, a move that critics say kicked off a prison industrial complex in the region, a much, much darker legacy.
So, where does that leave this dream? Is it an impossible bid? You've got these really powerful arguments on both sides of the aisle. It's ambition versus reality, and the path forward is anything but certain.
What's really interesting, though, is that almost everyone involved, from the biggest supporters to the sharpest skeptics, agrees on the next logical step. Before any bid is even considered, New York needs to form an official exploratory committee to do a hard, sober analysis of all the costs, the benefits, and the feasibility. It's time to replace all the speculation with actual data.
And that's really what this all boils down to. A third Olympics in Lake Placid is, believe it or not, possible. But it comes with immense challenges and an absolutely astronomical price tag. So the question for New Yorkers is a simple but profound one. Is the glow of the Olympic flame really worth that billion-dollar bill?